The Grappling Hour is brought to you by Luda Gear, athletic support items created by grapplers for grapplers. Fire Grub Meal prep done right.
Yeah. Check it out.
We are live with one JJ Wilson, who has learned to master Skype in a very short amount of time. JJ,
Hey, what's up, brother?
Not much, man. How you doing, sir?
Good, man. How you been?
Very well. Thank you so much for asking. I hope you are doing well. If you could do me a solid and go ahead and press the little video button on your phone.
Yeah, for sure.
Excellent.
What's that? Little video?
If you just touch the screen. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the one, the only, JJ Wilson, who is just... Where are you coming from, dude? Are you coming straight from training right now?
Yeah, I just finished training. I'm just going home right now.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you for giving us time, my man. Here's the thing. I was very excited when I saw that you were going to be on this next Bellator card. And I want to ask your opinion. Because this isn't just... Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Man, I'm super excited for this fight. You know, it's on a really big card. It's with Fedor. He's the main event.
That's what I was trying to ask you, which is, put aside for a split second that you're fighting, let's talk about how much effort and love Bellator is putting behind this event. You've got Fedor and Bader in the finals of that Grand Prix they've been building up forever. Then they've got Lovato fighting Gegard. And that's the same cage that you'll be fighting on that night. Are you excited just as a fan before we even get to talking about yours?
Man, I'm excited as a fan even just to go and see those fighters. You know, like back in New Zealand, I dreamed of even watching these guys fight. So to be on the same card as them, it's truly a blessing, you know?
Well, that's a pretty cool feather in your cap to have so early in your MMA career. Because let's face it, how old are you, kid?
I just turned 21.
Oh, Jesus. We're going to see you forever, aren't we? All right. You're 21 years old. You're crushing it. You've got this great story, jiu-jitsu, background that you've been so good about. You made a very solid transition into MMA. Just who is your opponent? What can you tell us about what is coming up? Because January is just a heartbeat away, but we'd like to know where you at and how that all is coming together.
Yeah, so my training for this camp is going really well. You know, I got Justin Flores helping me with my wrestling. I have my boxing coach, Coach Juan. He works with Antonio Margarita. He's super strong. And then also for my jiu-jitsu, I have Johnny Ferreira. So I have a really strong corner for this fight. I'm feeling really good. You know, the guy I'm fighting is going to be a little bit different because he's southpaw. You know, it's going to be my first time fighting a southpaw, so so I'm adapting to that right now. But you know, I'm confident. I'm feeling like it's going to be a first round finish. You know, I'm going to put the guy down and I'm going to use my jiu-jitsu to win this fight.
Do you feel good in knowing that, like, I like hearing a jiu-jitsu guy say they want to go for a knockout, because one of the main criticisms we get as jiu-jitsu guys is that our hands don't have weight to them.
Yeah. So when I started jiu-jitsu, I started kickboxing. So I've been kickboxing since as long as I've been doing jiu-jitsu. You know, I've had 7 Muay Thai fights. I fought some of the top guys in New Zealand. I've been fighting MMA the same amount of time. So, like, I'm confident with my hands, but I'm more confident in my jiu-jitsu. So I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna put work on this guy. I'm gonna put him down and make him swim in my waters.
It's good stuff. How does it feel? Because I have to ask this. When I saw you put up that article, I know you don't have any say in the headlines or anything like that.
Yeah.
But when it just says Kiwi, like you as the formal noun,
Yeah.
How does that make you feel? Because I know that's something that you might be used to, but I don't have people calling me a Kiwi, and I don't really just like think to myself like, oh, I'm cool with this. Like when you read that headline, does that feel normal to you?
Yeah,
Since you're
for me
from New
it's
Zealand?
for me it's normal because all the New Zealanders get called Kiwis, but a lot of people have said that to me, and I always laugh about it because they're like, "Are you sure you like to be called a Kiwi?" And I'm like, "I don't mind it. I guess it could be offensive because it is like a flightless bird that can't really do anything, so it kind of sucks." but
I mean, we're just asking for, again, it's a very American thing. To ever occasionally just look at a name like that and go, "What'd you mean by that?"
yeah.
Hold
No,
up. You call me a Kiwi, son? I don't even know what that bird is. Is it a
yeah,
bird?
it's a flightless bird in New Zealand. It's indigenous to New Zealand, so I guess it's our icon. So that's why people call us that. But I always think to myself, like, why do I like to be called a flightless bird? It doesn't really make sense.
That's
It's a
fair.
bird that can't fly, so how is it even a bird?
That's a great question, and one I'm sure we'll be figuring out for the ages. So let me figure this out. Are you Ubering on the side, or are you just giving rides to people? Because I see somebody in the back.
No, this is my friend. His name's Carlo.
Hello, Carlo.
We just finished training. He's getting ready for Worlds. He's from New Zealand as well, so
Oh shit.
just a blue belt. So hopefully he can prove that New Zealand's got some top level guys.
I was about to say, are you trying to pull them over here? Because I think listen, you're good as is. We don't need any more of you guys. We're good.
I'm trying to build an army of New Zealand fighters and bring them all over here.
Slowly
Try
but
to take
surely
over.
trying to infiltrate us over here. I don't know, man. I just started laughing because it's like normally I do these interviews one on one, and I know sometimes we got people on the go. We just were talking with Ethan Krellenston, who was, well, okay, that was rude. Our good friend JJ just dropped out. We're gonna give him a call and bring him back on in just a second. Um, I mean, is he working as an Uber? Anyway, listen, JJ.
Sorry, man,
No,
cut out.
you're fine. I understand. It's weird. I was just saying how we were talking with Ethan Krellenston, who was at an airport. Everybody seems to be doing multiple things. This is the first time I've ever done an interview where the person is potentially driving and also has someone in their backseat. Is just like, oh, that's normal. That's me, mate. No big deal.
Yeah, no, I would have 4 people, but the other 2 people are down the road waiting for me to pick them up, but I'm just chilling here talking to you right now.
So no, you are 100% becoming a professional Uber just for your team because
Yeah, I know. I need to start charging them though. I'm driving them around for free, so that's
100% they should be paying your gas. So when you get
Oh, for
somewhere, they
sure.
should buy your food because I don't cut for just anybody. I'll say this though, dude.
No,
He's preparing
cutting
for
stuff.
he's preparing for Nogi Worlds. So what does it feel like though when you have a fight going on? Do you miss wanting to go to Worlds or competing in jiu-jitsu? Like, does that register
So,
at you?
so I'm still gonna be fighting Nogi Worlds. You know what I mean? Because it's always been my dream to win Worlds, and my wrestling's feeling really good, my jiu-jitsu's feeling really good. So I'm feeling really confident for Worlds. I want to go there. I want to win a world title, and then go into my Bellator fight as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion. That'll be dope.
Dude, listen, kid. I don't, we live different lives. That's a good way to start, I think, what I'm about to yell at you about, which is, most people just say, like, yeah, it sucks. Oh, I wish I could do this tournament because I got my fight in a month, so I'm really laser focused. You're like, man, I'm so laser focused on that fight. I'm going to go to Worlds real quick, pick up a little quick thing, a little medal around my neck, and then just go straight into murdering somebody in a cage right after.
That's the plan, bro. That's the plan.
Oh my god, dude. Because what's nice is that I love the fact that you get those gamers who go out there and always want to compete and test themselves. That's dope, dude. But you can take one off.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like if it was a smaller tournament, I would. But man, I've been preparing for Worlds this whole year, so I can't miss it.
Did they tell you when your fight was before you knew when Worlds was? How did that work out then?
So our Worlds camp here had already started. they let me know about 2 weeks before I announced it. They're like, we want you to fight on on January 26th. Are you down? We're gonna find your opponent. And I said, yeah, I'm down. Let's find me a fight. And then they came back like a week later saying, oh, I got your opponent. We'll send you the contract in a couple days. So once I got my contract, I posted up online and announced to everyone. But I had already registered for Worlds, so I was like, I'm not gonna pull out. I'm gonna fight that.
But you could, like, nobody thinks you're pulling out of Worlds like some sort of like pussy, you know what I mean? Like nobody thinks
Yeah,
like,
no,
oh,
no.
look at this guy, he's so afraid.
Yeah, no, I don't feel like that, but I feel like I just wanna win it. Like
Yeah.
that's been my dream for, like, I've went to Worlds 4 years in a row, and I've always fell short, like making the quarterfinals, making this, just an inch away. But this year I feel like I have a better edge, so I feel like I can take it. So I don't want to miss it.
Well, bless you, but I'm gonna be very honest with you on the one thing that worries me. So again, I'm not a person who competes. I'm not a person who fights, but when I'm training those people and working with them to help them get ready, it's
Yeah,
one thing when it's somebody competing for Nogi Worlds. Like I had somebody yesterday who I wasn't sure if they're competing at Nogi Worlds, so I kind of like take away like heel hooks and certain
yeah,
moves that I think might like render them stupid or that would hurt them, right?
yeah,
When somebody tells me they're fighting MMA, I'm always like, oh God, I don't think I'm gonna like submit you and kill you. I'm just really nervous I'm gonna be a klutz and fall on you the wrong way. And then you can't do
yeah.
anything. So I get really concerned. And when somebody like you tells me you're gonna do both, I'm just like, I can't roll with you. I feel I'm gonna ruin you. I don't know how. I'm gonna fall
No,
on you
so
the
like
wrong way.
when I'm rolling, like, yeah, I'm preparing for Nogi Worlds, but I'm using my MMA, like I'm using my MMA thoughts and how I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna like, I have my MMA mindset when I'm rolling, so I'm still pinning their arms, setting up for ground and pound, like, but I'm not actually gonna punch them because we're rolling jiu-jitsu, but I still set them up like that, and I'm gonna do that at Worlds because it's really good control.
Don't get me wrong.
MMA fighters, you can control them really well.
You punch me, things get hectic. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
you
don't I
punch
don't
someone
really
and
enjoy that all that much. I had somebody run a combat jiu-jitsu round with me once, and they didn't ask, they just did it, and I was like, "The fuck you doing?" Um, but to
you
me, I
set up
just
an album.
yeah, but I always I say it like this. It's not a question of me wondering where you're at mentally. It's more me being a klutz and thinking, no, 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 no. I want to be a good training partner, but I'm also very nervous for you. So kudos to your training partners for making sure you're nice and not injured. So
Yeah,
you,
no, my training partners are trying to kill me.
oh.
They're trying to rip every part of my body off.
This is like every wrong answer you could possibly be giving me is
But
like every step of the way of this interview so far, sir. Go
but
ahead.
I'm sure I'm gonna be fine. I'm sure I'm gonna make it. I'm feeling good. Like, there's no way I'm gonna pull out of this fight, like, at all.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad that your mindset is 100% intact. Even if
Yeah.
rational thought may be a little bit more out here, the
Yeah,
mindset
no,
is
my
100% on point. So I'm
I
very
don't
proud
think
about
I
that.
have rational thinking. I don't think it exists in my brain.
So JJ, let's take a trip back because one of the things we always like to ask people is kind of getting a sense of where grappling begins for them. This is called Grappling Hour for a reason. So where does your jiu-jitsu and grappling journey begin, sir?
So I started jiu-jitsu when I was about 15, going on to 16. Um, I walked into my gym one day. I walked into in New Zealand. I walked into the gym and I was like, "What the hell's going on? What are these people doing?" This, and then I started to it was an advanced class going on in my gym, and then one of the guys said, "Oh, you can't train. It's an advanced class." And I was like, "I'm just gonna train." So I jumped in the class, said I knew what I was doing. I didn't know anything, and then I looked around and saw what other people were doing and just sort of copied them. And then I started rolling, and then everyone beat the shit out of me because Of course, he's a random guy and he's not listening to the instructor and he wants the roll. So he goes in. I got a hiding. And then I kept showing up because I was like, I wanted to get all the people back that gave me that beat me up. I was like, man, I want to get these guys. So I kept going back. They kept beating me up, and then eventually it started to change. And then I was like, I think I actually like this. I think I'm good at this. And then I started competing. I competed like 1 month into training. Like my first competition, I was 1 month training, and my coach was like, "Oh, there's a tournament. You want to join?" I was like, "Sure." I went. I had 3 fights. I submitted them all in triangles. So I was like, "Maybe I'm good at this. Maybe I'm gonna keep doing it." And then 6 months later, my coach was like, "Do you want to fight MMA?" I had no hands at all, zero hands, and I'm like, "Yeah, sure, let's fight." I went in there. This guy, I had no hands at all. It was so shocking. I went and watched it the other day. It was so funny. But the guy comes in, I shoot a blast double, mount him, and then catch an armbar. So it was, so it made me really like jiu-jitsu. And after that, I just got really hooked on grappling. And I was like, this is it. This is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life.
Okay, so let's take a moment to just kind of stop here because you're picking up more people in the background. But
Yeah,
also,
we got some more people. So.
hello, other friends. I'm doing an interview. It's good to see you guys. I hope you don't mind. I don't have questions for you guys because I wasn't told this. But if I was prepared, I would ask you guys individual questions. So thank you, audience, for being here. JJ, though, if I'm listening to your story correctly, most people have that like, oh man, I wanted to test myself. I wanted to get in there. I wanted to like just find out what to do after wrestling. All of those narratives. Yours is basically you got beat up and it's a revenge story. It was like you took down names and you were like, that motherfucker will die in 3 months. I will come back to him.
Exactly. That's how I started. I was like, that guy fucked me up. I'm gonna get some payback. Like,
did you?
When I finally did get payback, it felt pretty good, you know.
Well, of course, yeah. No, it's basically every like you're essentially going the Punisher route of MMA stories, where it's like, how dare you? No one makes me bleed my own blood. I'm coming after you with everything I've got. I'm glad, though, that you did because, of course, it's worked out very nicely for you. But I guess the next question to that is, like, did you ever have an inclination toward doing this sort of thing? Some people come from wrestling. Some people come from different backgrounds. Like, what was it that made you, like, do that?
I didn't, like, in New Zealand, I played rugby as a kid, but I never really did any kind of combat sport. Like, my mom's boyfriend, he did like a little bit of kickboxing. He showed me a little bit, but I never really did any kind of combat sport. You know, my family, they weren't really into combat sports. It was just my friend, he started training at the gym. He was talking about it, and then he bought me something. I can't even remember what it was. And then I was like, I'll pay you back. And then he's like, nah, don't worry about it. Just come to the gym with me. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll come to the gym with him because I had no money to pay him back anyway. And then I went into the gym with him, and then I was like, man, this is really cool. And then that's how I stepped into the gym. It wasn't like you know. And then that's from there. I just really liked it and just kept training. So
that's awesome. So you said that you went to go back and watch your first fight.
Yeah.
What has grown the most for you in your own eyes watching it? Because it is like watching any kind of competition or any footage.
Yeah.
Has moments of cringe or things that we kind of, don't love. But it still ended fine. But you're able to look at it with perspective now.
I looked at it and I laughed because my hands were down. Like my hands were by my chest. I had like a wide stance and I was like taunting him. I like, you know how you come out and you touch gloves?
Mm-hmm.
So I ran out, faked to touch the glove, and I punched him.
Oh, you're that guy. That's right. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I was like pure Street Fighter. Like there was like no technique. And I was like, oh my God, what the hell? Like I had no respect, no technique, no nothing. And then I just ran at him with a double leg. It was hilarious.
I'm so glad that you got that out of your way now. So that way, when you get to further and further in your MMA career, I don't have to like give you a call up and be like, listen, kid, you fake that punch one more time. You're at a world title. How dare you?
Only-
Okay, so let's discuss this. So that's when you start doing it. The question we always like to ask that's really important to us that I think unites all grapplers is, when did you know that you fell in love with jiu-jitsu?
Man, so I competed at my first tournament as I told you about, and then like I was still just like coasting. I was like, oh, this is fun.
Mm.
And then I had like another competition, and then I won again. And I was like, oh, this is kind of fun, but like I don't really care about it. And then my third competition, I lost. I lost the finals match, and like I went so hard, I had no gas left, I couldn't breathe. Like, they wiped. As soon as I lost, I was like, this is it. I'm gonna commit my life to the shit. I'm never losing again. And then from then on, I just really like my mindset changed. I stopped because I was a little bit of a bad kid, you know. I was doing a lot of bad stuff. I stopped everything. I moved into the gym, like, because I was kicked out of home and things. So my coach let me live in the gym. So I basically just left my life, lived in the gym, and just trained after I lost. So it took the loss to make me really commit myself to jiu-jitsu and grappling.
That's great. I mean, I'm glad that you were able to refocus that. That's, I think,
Yeah.
one of the hardest things for grapplers or athletes to learn because nobody teaches you how to lose.
Yeah.
And having a good mentality to learn how to transfix that loss into a win in the future is one of the hardest tricks that you don't, not everybody gets it that fast, if I'm being perfectly honest. A lot of the times there's the frustration, they feel like just throw more at it, but not analyzing why or what you can do to take that as fuel and in a smart way kind of grow from it. So it's really cool to maybe with that perspective now that you look at for your old match and now just kind of say like, man, it's really cool how those events transfixed your life in a very positive way.
No, for sure. If I never lost that match, I probably would never have taken jiu-jitsu seriously, you know?
Well, I wonder about that because even when you're in your jiu-jitsu photos, why the hell are you sticking out your tongue in almost every one of your goddamn photos?
So that's cultural. So it's called a pukana. It's my culture.
Who and a what? Like a Pokemon? What the hell are you talking about, kid?
It's called a pukana. You got like that.
I mean, I've seen it. Yeah, I know. I get it, Miley Cyrus. But why?
So my culture is Maori, and the pukana is sort of like a fierce, it's like a fierce face.
Well, okay, interpretations are different, but go on.
Yeah. How would you describe a pukana?
So pukana was used to like intimidate your enemy as you're going to war.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, so let me see if I can say that for our viewers. It's basically like letting your enemy know that you are a fierce warrior and what's up, right?
Yeah, it's basically saying you're trying to intimidate. It's intimidation because we'll do the haka, and the haka is it's pretty intimidating, and then we'll do the pukana to add more intimidation.
Got it. Okay. See,
Like
maybe
I'm here for war. Like,
got it. Now that makes more sense. I think it's just because we don't see the actual first part of it, so we don't see the haka happen beforehand. That we just see the like you doing it. It makes you look like a Batman villain sometimes. Where I'm just like
Batman villain.
Yeah, it makes me wonder. I'm like, okay. Well, I think the kid's going insane now. Clearly.
The kid's gone insane.
But I'm glad. Okay, well, I'm glad. I mean, culturally, I'm sure somebody's going to be very upset by this, but fuck them. JJ, here's what I'm so intrigued to ask you about because, you get there, you find your love, you find your passion, and one of the things that's very difficult for people to really get a handle on is where did you start to find your best advice or transitions from taking your jiu-jitsu game into your MMA game?
So, like, the thing is I didn't really want to do jiu-jitsu. I wanted to fight MMA. Like, I started, and I was like, I want to fight. And then, and my coach at the time, he was an MMA coach, but he got his brown belt from Hickson, then got his black from Marcelo, what's his last name? Vazendez or something, from Gracie Baja. So he was technically sound in jiu-jitsu, but he was more of an MMA fighter. So he taught me right from the start jiu-jitsu that works in MMA.
Mm.
And then I never even learned what De La Riva was until I was like a mid blue belt. So like I went through my whole like beginning of jiu-jitsu with MMA jiu-jitsu, and it got me pretty far until I started to meet these guys who played Burn Bowler and all these sort of things, and then I had to really sit down and study Burn Bowlers and how to defend them, because I didn't even know what the hell De La Riva was. But then you know, it took me really quickly to adapt to put them into my game. So so for me it was easier for me to transition into MMA because I had already been training jiu-jitsu for MMA basically from the start.
Okay, that's good, man. I'm glad that they were able to complement each other, because so many people don't necessarily get like that ability, or they get like a specific brand of jiu-jitsu that is difficult to translate. So especially for fighting, I think that's great that you had the right kind of people helping and backing you up there.
Yeah.
When you made your professional debut, there were some circumstances that came up that were difficult. Yeah. I would like to know, you were in the middle of a weight cut. You got a call. You thought that they were joking. You were trying to like get a real answer out of it. Like, how were you able to persevere and like stay focused and getting back to your weight cut?
It was super hard. Like, I was crazy actually. Like, so I had been cutting weight all day. I finally I was about like 0.5 of a pound off. Like I was almost there, and we had stopped because weigh-in was in the morning and it was like 10 p.m. at night. So we're like, man, if you sleep, you'll wake up, you'll be on weight. I was like, okay. So I had just laid down. I was tossing and turning, trying to get to sleep, you know. And it was about like 1 a.m. They called me. I hadn't been able to sleep. So it was about 1 a.m. They called me. I ignored them call at first because I was like, I can't talk to anybody right now. I'm dehydrated. I have no energy to even move. I don't want to talk to anyone. So I hanged up the phone. They kept ringing. They keep ringing. And then they said it's emergency, answer. So I answered. But when I answered, I was all mad. I was like, what the fuck do you guys want? And then they're like, they said, oh, Jamie passed away. And I was like, hey, he's fucking with me? You don't need to tell me this shit right now. I'm in the middle of my weight cut. They're like, no, we're serious. Like, we're here with the police, and I don't know what's happened, but she's on the ground. Like, and then from there, I still was like in disbelief. You know, I was like, no, like you can't start talking shit, because she's young. She was 1 year older than me. You know, she was only 22. So at first I was like, what the hell? Who? Like, I was like, who done it? Like, what happened? Because at first they didn't tell me what had happened. Nobody was telling me. They just said that she had passed away, and my thought was, well, she was perfectly healthy, so someone must have killed her. So I was freaking out, thinking that somebody killed her, and there's like my mind went down that path. And then so I was like, who was it? Like, I was going crazy, and then you know, I'm in the bathroom. My coach is asleep. I'm in the bathroom, like crying, like. And then like after 2 hours, I wake my coach up and I tell him what happened, and he's like, man, I'm sorry. Like, and they said, do you still want to fight tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, I still want to fight. And then he goes, man, you're gonna have to try sleep and keep your mind focused. And then so I was on the phone like calling all night trying to tell what happened, and then my stepmom messaged me. And I said, what happened? She goes, oh, she committed suicide. And then you know, I heard a little bit more, and I didn't really know what to say, and I was still crying at the time. Like, so I spent that whole night, I didn't sleep. Like, I cried basically the whole night. I woke up, didn't even wake up. I basically stayed up all night, and then I went to the weigh-in, weighed in, made weight, you know, faced off with the guy, did all that stuff, and then I was just like, I need to finish this fight, and then I need to get back. Like, that was my mind. That was my mind never crossed a thought of backing out of the fight, because I was like, if she would not want me to back out of the fight if she was,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Like if she could tell me, she would have told me not to back out of the fight because just you know what I mean? Because I can still make it to a funeral. So she was like, don't. I just had a feeling like just the fight, go out there and win the fight for her instead,
I mean, it's a remarkably terrible thing to have happen, just period, outside of a fight
Yeah,
game. It's
for
a
sure.
amplified thing when
Yeah.
you are preparing for a fight, and so many fighters have, people who pass or people who have something tragic happen to them. Like they get tested in ways,
Mm.
and I feel like that's one of those tests that for you just it does seem unfair that it would have to be like such an amplified thing.
No, for sure, 100%.
But you were able to go in there and pull off a win. What was the first thing in your mind when you pulled off the win?
Man, my phone might die any second, so I'm sorry if I cut out.
You're good.
But uh, no, the first thing I won, I was like, I don't really know. Like that fight was different from any fight I've ever had because I was emotionless. Even after I won, I didn't feel like happy. Like usually you win,
Yeah.
you'll feel like happy. Like when I won, I was just like, just normal. I didn't feel like I was happy. Of course, I was like, cool, I won, but in my mind, I was sort of, my mind wasn't in that place. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I wasn't there that night. Like my mind was elsewhere. Like even when I was fighting, like I was in the cage looking at the guy, I was all was going through my mind is like, I gotta finish you and then I gotta go back. You know what I mean? Like I gotta get this done.
Well, it appears that JJ's phone was dying out. I think his cell phone had reached the end of its charge. Well, that's unfortunate. Anyway, folks, I think that's going to do it for us here today. What we're going to do is we're going to put an extension over to JJ that we can close out the interview at a different time. My apologies to his phone. You guys? Myself? I don't know. Whoever is responsible for this, his phone dying. Yeah, maybe his phone charger for getting a bad rap right now. But, of course, we want to hear more from him. And it was a phenomenal series of stories and recollections we got from early before. But he knows that he is welcome to come back on the show at any given time. I just don't think we're going to hear from him until way later today. So I'm going to shoot him a note, tell him we'd love to have him back on very soon. In the meantime, guys, do us a solid. Go download us on iTunes. Go to the YouTube page, Grappling Hour. Add us on Facebook. Add us on all of the major social media. That means the Instagrams. That means, I say iTunes again. I'm going to say that one more time. If you could do that, it's huge support for the show. And give big, big thanks and support to our sponsors, Fire Grub Meal Plan and Luda Gear. I think that's going to do it for us this week. My name is Raph Esparza. It's been a great day for grappling.